ẹ̀yin wa ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jùmọ̀ kọ orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àwa ni ògo adúláwọ̀. Hello, everybody. Wow. This is the gentleman that used to come here every day before. He comes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a daily bread thing. And then suddenly, I couldn't find him again. Not that I couldn't find him. I was just joking. I was just whining you. But tonight's show is a different show because there have been so many rumors that we need to clear out, i.e. it is true, i.e. it's a fake, i.e. it is right, i.e. it's a referendum, i.e. it's this, i.e. it's that. People say all the jargons in the world that they don't know about, and this makes me very, very, very sick. If you don't know about something, ask. If you cannot ask, there's a website attached to what we're going to talk about tonight. And tonight I have my very, very good friend in the person of Tony Nandi, who will be analyzing this petition for referendum. It's not a referendum, it's something that will make a referendum to happen. So we will analyze it together, me and Tony. And I have the pleasure in bringing Tony Nandi to your screen so that we can explain everything to you guys. Good morning, good evening, Tony. How are you doing here?
I'm good. Welcoming viewers one more time in a while.
You said one more time?
Yeah, we've been here a number of times.
It's a good thing to see your face. Nice to see your face again, Tony. So,
thank you.
How has everything been since?
Oh, well, we are grateful to God that what we set in motion on the 16th of December, 2020, you saw the build up to it. We were telling our people to get ready that something big was about to happen, and we begin to reset the dial for Nigeria as the 21 political union. Many didn't quite see how it will happen, so they went about doing whatever they were doing before. But if you that paid attention, has followed from the time we launched it, and progressively it's dawning on them that there's really no other way to proceed with the matter of extricating themselves from the union of death.
Sorry, can you hear me now, Tony?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so it's a union of death, and you've managed to trigger what can save us?
Yes.
The NINAS.
I can say it more authoritatively now. At the time we first launched it, many people didn't see how it could be, but they are seeing it now. That we gave the check the date on your screen. I saw 12th of June instead of
Again.
19th.
Again. Thank you very much, Sonny.
Right.
I was trying to balance everything before you get here, but unfortunately, it get done on me. I'm still gonna keep it at 19 because some people are still at 19, and I want to thank you for giving us the time, because I know you're supposed to be in bed now, especially with the amount of things you've done during the day today. Tony,
this is my fifth meeting today. You are the fifth TV platform.
For the benefit of the very few who doesn't know you, who doesn't know what NINAS is, can you give us a very good lowdown of yourself, NINAS, and what NINAS has been doing, please, Tony?
Well, Trinidad, like you've been told, my name, and I am secretary. I'm an attorney and secretary to an organization called the Lower Niger Congress, which is in alliance with some other self-determination initiatives across the southern and middle belt territories of Nigeria. And then the Yoruba state, we have as the flagship organization there, Lanomo Odua, and then in the middle belt, we have the middle belt Congress, and we from all of them. So in that alliance of three blocks, the Yoruba in the western half of southern Nigeria, the Lower Niger in the eastern half of southern Nigeria, Lower Niger being the aggregation of the south, south, and southeast, as Nigeria prefers to call them these days. Otherwise, we just say the ethnic majority spread across the 11 states. Edo and Abia and Delta, Igbo, Boeing, Cross River, all of those 11 states, the nationalities are, together with the Lower Niger, where we're trying to move. There's a federate among themselves as a country of 17 million people. There's a federation of 17 million people that will then be dealing with the rest of the world in that commission, of course, including the rest of Nigeria. And so that's what the platform NINAS is the joint cooperation platform between all the development initiatives in southern and middle Nigeria, together like a joint movement from the caliphate region of the world called Nigeria, in which the Fulani has claimed ownership of it all, has claimed independence and the power of land to their right of killing people all over the place, in the middle belt, in the south, everywhere. So the constitution by which the union is convened and being managed, is a fraud and a forgery, and therefore we in that alliance of trade to reject that constitution. And what the NINAS is that joint initiative to take down that constitution and end the union of death. The unitary union of death appointed a lot of us, and to guide everybody through to the emergence of successor arrangements as three independent units, three units that will be free from the old union that died with that constitution, so that with their sovereignties in their hand, in undeterred and unfettered self-determination, the three blocks in the alliance will proceed into whatever be the arrangement they want to make among themselves, but not to include the Sharia belt that has seceded from the secular union that Nigeria, was designed to be. But they've seceded, and then at the time, the constitution that brought us together was already being challenged. So we are really at the end of that union, and NINAS is guiding all of the transition including explaining to the international community what's going on. That's where we are.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tony Nadi. We really appreciate how you break everything down. I'm still going to take you back a little bit, not that much. Some people has come up and said, "Oh, this petition for referendum is for the Igbo people, is for the South Side people, is for the Niger Delta people." Can you give me a good, solid clarification so that everybody that's not informed can be well informed tonight? Because we want to change the dynamic.
Yes.
We want to get this petition signed.
Right. On the 16th of December, when the constitutional force majeure was proclaimed by the NINAS Alliance, the same night, at midnight of that same day, we opened up a petition directed at the United Nations Security Council, just to let them know that the peoples of Nigeria have come to that point where they have activated a process, a mechanism, an irreversible intervention to taking down the constitution that was imposed on them by a small section of the country that has refused since 1967 to come to table of discussion for how we could restore our union to the federal basis upon which it was founded. Having endured it all this while, and they kept imposing one thing after the other by decree and by brigandage, and now we drew up a plan to rework our relationships amongst ourselves, letting those who wish to do Sharia to go in self-determination, because we also interpreted the cessation of the 12 states that imposed Sharia from the secular union of Nigeria to mean their own exercise of right to self-determination among themselves in their space. So the rest of us who were already disputing the 1999 constitution have also now stepped into our own right to self-determination from that 16th of December in 2020. And so that petition to the UN and some of the other organs, and it will be shared as it's going to the UN, it's going to the US government, it's going to US Congress, it's going to European Union, and that was our own strategy of keeping them abreast of what we're doing here, so that they will be on hand to step in when we get to the logjam, because we certainly are getting to constitutional logjam. Those who impose the constitution have had 21 years to listen, so that we could together go to work out what will replace what we are rejecting. But somehow they felt, what can these ones do? Who are they? You saw where the federal government ran to the National Assembly to try to effect amendments to the constitution. We made that proclamation on a certain day. Inside that same week, in less than 48 hours, there was a notice for constitutional amendment that will come, that the Senate gave out. And if you check all the grounds, they list all the thematic themes they brought out, the areas they want that those amendments to cover. You will see that they were lifted directly from the grave constitutional grievances we listed in that proclamation, in the union dispute we declared. And so it was their own attempt to get ahead of us by going to National Assembly to infuse life back into the constitution that had been rejected by the constituents. And so I'm just informing our viewers that the constitutional force majeure in the first 90 days, we gave the federal government to come to table, to bring themselves to the table of that discussion, of that transition, because whether they come or not, the transition is going on. Our sovereignty belongs to us. We do not require the permission of the government. Is like the hired management of an enterprise. The constituents, the Yoruba, the Ijaw, the Ogoni, the Teberom, the Tiv, The Igbo, all of those who are corralled and cobbled into this union are the owners of the enterprise. And the government, is the hired management. And so if the owners of an enterprise are having a shareholders meeting, a meeting to look at their enterprise one more time, it is not in the place of the hired management, that's government in this instance. In its three arms, executive, legislative, including judiciary, they are all a part of that hired management team. And the hiring process is what we call election. It happens once in 4 years. And so the fact that we have rolled out that intervention, and instead of coming to that table, they rush to their own illicit table in the National Assembly, that is a product of that same fraud we're talking about, because the 36 states we have, from which we got 3 senators per state, from which we got so many House of Reps as allotted by that constitution. They are all in controversy. They are all disputed. Everything anchored on that constitution is disputed. And so, include all institutions, National Assembly, National Police, National Army, National Petroleum Company, that's NNPC, DSS, everything created by that constitution, INEC, the 36 states, the 704 local government areas, the 68 items of exclusive list, every provision of that constitution, every institution created by that constitution are all now in controversy. The dispute we raised is simply to say that we did not make this constitution, as claimed in its preamble, meaning that we have not submitted our lands and our people into this union of attrition, union of death, contrary to the claim in that preamble. Because when you go back to that preamble, you begin to see where it says, we the people have solemnly resolved to live in unity as one indivisible country. And therefore, we make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. That declaration is supposed to be coming out of the mouth of the Yoruba, who have discussed with the Ijaw, the Ogoni, the Igbo, the Perom, and the rest of them, and come to the conclusion that, we want to live in this one union with the rest of the people. That declaration is supposed to be coming out of the mouth of the Ogoni, the mouth of the Ijaw, the mouth of the Chief, the mouth of the Idoma, the mouth of everybody in those 360 to 50 or so different language groups you find in the country. But did we have a meeting? The answer is no. How do I know? The decree number 24 that brought it about. So I'm just telling our people that when we say that proclamation was a union dispute, it was to say we were disowning the union as created and defined, two different things, by that constitution, which we did not make. Because we say it amounts to a forgery, it amounts to a fraud to impute the authorship of a document we did not make to us, under which you are now selling 3 million barrels of crude oil every day, under which you send people from Sokoto and Kano to go and kill off people in Aba, Onitsha, and Ibadan, everywhere, under which you sit in Abuja and dictate who will govern Oyo State and Imo State, in the pretense that there's an election, whereas the INEC, the independent, so-called independent national election in a federation, we shouldn't have a situation where people will come from wherever and organize elections in the manner that no matter what you do, is only who Abuja anoints that will become. We saw it happen in Imo again and again. So we've seen it happen elsewhere. So in all of that, that petition, which is the subject of this night's discussion, that petition was only meant to keep the international stakeholders, the UN Security Council particularly, the US government, US Congress, State Department, European Union Commission and Parliament, and some of the other countries Japan, Australia, South Africa, some of the countries that are really interested in what's going on in Nigeria. But our petition is addressed to the UN Security Council, because when it gets to them, of course, the members and other organs of the UN will get to know. And that petition has been ongoing since that December 16th. And some of our people we saw intermittently one group or the other will spring up to say, oh no, we're going to do referendum on June 12th for Yoruba. Referendum will not happen online. Referendum will have to be precipitated. I want our people to listen carefully so that nobody comes to scam them or defraud them any further, because we've seen all kinds of things in the past in this process. The referendum that Lower Niger Congress was looking for, was seeking for eastern half of southern Nigeria, the referendum NINAS is pushing for at this time for all the blocks in the alliance will be a UN mandated referendum, and it will come from the point we arrive at the logjam that will come when the next election cannot proceed on the basis of this constitution, because that's what we say had to happen. That was our demand, and those 5 points of demand have become our agenda. The fact that the federal government didn't come to join the table of discussion make those 5 points of our demand at the time now our agenda. If they didn't come to announce, like we wanted them to announce, that there's a union dispute, they are going to find people who will go to the border and remove the border control in rejection of what Nigeria is doing in their space. They're going to find all kinds of challenges on the street for people who say we're no longer going to be bound by this nonsense that tie our hands to the back while strangers come to shoot us in our ancestral spaces. So each of those 5 points, if we say let us agree, we will not go to another election, and you get one Yakub to be making an announcement day and night of how he will go to conduct the election on the basis of a constitution we have rejected, you are going to find out that there are people who are going to turn their back on Yakub, his INEC, and all kinds of things, and carry on with what they need to do to actualize their self-determination. That's what they're going to see. So it will be a practical situation. You'll be making one announcement, planning your own program. The people you are planning for are making their own announcement and moving in the opposite direction. So we wanted, that petition was to keep the UN Security Council informed, the US government fully informed on what is going on. Those people who have gone around to say, oh, we're going to do the referendum on certain day online, I tell you, please don't pay any attention to them. When referendum will come, we saw it happen in Scotland the other day. Referendum is not something you do online, or that's all that will amount to opinion poll. If you want to say people come and do it this way, come and register here for you to, it's just opinion poll. It's just a matter of showing that our people are in support of what we're saying, that demand is not the demand of 3, 4, or 4 people who are drunk or who are looking for some kind of accommodation in the system. That the demand is coming from the populace, the nationalities that signed up to that proclamation of December 16, 2020. So it is for like it's written on the link itself. It says petition for referendum. Petition simply means prayer. Petition simply means request. Petition simply means some kind of a demand. You are asking somebody to please do something, to look into something and do specific thing about it. That's what petition is about. So it's not the referendum itself. The referendum will come only when the situation has been created for how that will now have to be resolved. For instance, we say that we will not tolerate any further elections in our various spaces. If we do the needful and shut down the parties from carrying on with the preparation for election, inside the third quarter, we're already in the last month of the second quarter. We lost according to the program we had, all these things should have been done by last year. But COVID-19 took most of last year. In fact, all of last year. We lost all of last year to COVID-19 disruptions. And so we have had to, aggregate and consolidate things we should have done last year with some of the things listed for later day, like this year. So they're all together now, and we are coming to the point where those things that will enforce the will of the people in terms of them not wanting or not willing to go to any further elections under this constitution will happen. And therefore, there will be a constitutional logjam. It is in that constitutional logjam that the necessity for transitioning will become unavoidable, will become inevitable. And it is in that transition that we'll be doing the two steps of what must be done to move towards anything. First step being the regions, the blocks, the constituent components of Nigeria in the formations shown in the NINAS map, which we know you are all familiar with by now. I'm just making it out from my. I'm sure we all recall this map very clearly. In which we are saying that this alliance, the one in white and the Sharia belts there, all of us in these three blocks, the Yoruba, the Lower Niger, and the Middle Belt, the three blocks you see right here, are the ones saying we will not go to another election under that constitution, and we're going to get the political party. We're going to persuade the political parties, and I want you to underline the word persuade. We're going to persuade the political parties, and you know there are many ways of persuading people to do what you want them to do. We're going to persuade the political parties to close shop for now until we have discussed the terms of the union. So that's what the petition is all about. We encourage our people to please, sign up to it, so that the people we're talking to will know that our people, in support of that petition, in support of that demand, because we're making a demand on the union, we're making a demand on the international community that has expressed, serious concern about what's going on in Nigeria. You saw it wasn't for nothing that the UN sent the rapporteur of 2019, August 2019, Agnes Callamard. You can Google that name and see what she said on behalf of the UN in her mission to Nigeria to find out why blood was flowing all over the place. That mission of that rapporteur mission came to the conclusion that Nigeria's constitutional arrangement was a pressure cooker for injustice, and that Nigeria was now a threat to the global community, a threat to the peace and order in the global community, because 200 million people are trapped here. If we cannot resolve our issues, we will suddenly come to a position where Nigeria will unravel, whether anybody does anything or not. The things that are happening by themselves are more than enough to unravel the basis of the union. How much more when clear-minded people will draw up a plan to unravel that union for the purpose of liberating those who are trapped here against their will, those who are being killed, those who are being slaughtered by these invaders from the Sahel. I mean, the Futa Bujalo. And, so it's just a matter of we have to precipitate those conditions that will now be resolved by referendums. Our work is cut out for us. That constitution has to go down. And as it's going down, and we are not just saying it will go down, we're not just pointing to the sky. We have a clear, we have a clear strategy for how it will happen. I want us to take a close look at this. We say it's domino one. In the lever you see to this side of the screen, you will see the arrows pointing down. And yes, those arrows you will see Lower Niger, Southwest, and Middle Belt. You see at the extreme is the union. At the extreme here is the union. That's that Nigeria of master and servant as defined by this constitution that we have repudiated. 1 minute, please. Yes, I was saying that Nigeria, so that we can understand exactly how that people who have been asking us, how will these things be? How will this constitution be taken down? I want us to see it now so that you can understand what we are asking the UN Security Council that we, this union of, as defined, as erected upon and defined by this constitution, which we have repudiated by solemn assemblies and all kinds of democratic processes through the last 15 years. And that constitution is renewed once every 4 years by elections. And we, having completed all these processes, we, meaning the alliance of Lower Niger, Yoruba, and Middle Belt, from the action of December 16th, we have arrived at this formation, this domino one. That is to say, we are all prepared now, having secured a majority, to halt the journey to 2023 election that will be conducted under this constitution we created, so that we can put an end to the unitary union of death. We are rejecting further national elections, particularly the one of 2023. When I say we, the Lower Niger, the South, the Yoruba, and the Middle Belt, these three you see in these arrows pointed down. We are telling the global community by proclamation of force majeure that this constitution that we did not make, but which is directly responsible for the killings happening to us, for the impoverishment happening to us, for the miseries happening to us, we're telling the global community that, having observed by democratic process all of what we need to observe, having organized ourselves in the formations in which we can take back our sovereignty, Nigeria is hijacking from us. Nigeria is holding against our will. Go back to that preamble that says we the people submitted. We didn't submit. And we have waited for 21 years for the issue to be addressed. Those who are holding us in shackles think that there's nothing we can do. They refuse to come along. And now we have organized ourselves sufficiently to want to bring down that constitution by the means we have selected. And that means is to shut down the journey to the election. And if we do that, where do we land? This is what we are, this is what this force majeure is pursuing to achieve. If we press, if the three blocks press on sufficiently, if we bring sufficient weight, if we bring sufficient pressure in telling political parties you can't go to this election, and we, whatever be the nature of the fight that we have to undertake to stop the political parties from dragging us to an election that will renew the life of that constitution, the election will collapse and the constitution will go down, because it is the rejection of the constitution. It is because we have that constitution that we are not going to any further election under it. So the constitution will, it is that at that point that will become clear to the whole world that that constitution has collapsed. Up till now, people are still thinking that something will save the constitution. That's why the federal government rushed to National Assembly to try to give life back. Of course, we shut it down. We made it clear to everybody, including the National Assembly, that the legislative mandate of National Assembly does not extend to constitution making. And so that amendment gamble has collapsed on their head. Where are we now? From that constitution not being saved, everybody will wake up down the road. We who set it up know exactly where we were going with it, and that union defined by that constitution will go down the day that constitution goes down. The constitution goes down the day election is not able to proceed, because the owners of the land have repudiated the constitution by which the winner will govern. I want us to understand the argument very clearly so that nobody will come to introduce confusion to us. We had a plan to bring these three blocks together to reject that union of death. And our mechanism for achieving that was to target the constitution first, to get everybody to repudiate it. You remember in 2017, the Yoruba went out in Solomon Assembly in Ibadan, Adamasingba Stadium, 7th of September, to disown that constitution as basis of union. You remember that in April of 2015, the Lower Niger had gone out in Port Harcourt to repudiate that constitution and reject as basis of union. The Middle Belt did the same on the 18th of July in 2018. Having so repudiated, having so rejected the constitution across all the territories of that alliance, we now came to December 11, 2018, in the Freedom Park Proclamation. All these things can be Googled. Anybody can Google Freedom Park Proclamation to see what these three blocks told the international community. In fact, the US heard it and wanted to hear more, because we were telling them that ISIS had been invited by those who pretended that they were federal government over us. And they've all been in that joint venture of overrunning us to set up a new base for ISIS in the Nigeria that they have to take from us by killing off the owners of the land and bringing the Fulani that has to come from everywhere in Africa. We saw the governor in Bauchi announce to us that Fulani from everywhere belong to Nigeria. We saw our borders thrown open by Buhari, and they poured in their great numbers, and they are busy slaughtering people, taking their lands and planting those Fulani that came from afar. So what that force majeure is doing is to bring us from that domino one. When you hear domino two is the point at which elections have been collapsed and the constitution is now manifestly defeated, and the union anchored on that again clearly, terminated. But we're not anarchists. That's why we offered in that union dispute proclamation, we offer transition to those in government house. We say to those in government house, please, our quarrel is not with you at all. Our quarrel is with the constitution with which you are ruining our lives. But you are the ones who swear to defend and uphold it. And so we don't want to begin you are merely, the government is merely, a hired management in the enterprise in Nigeria. When shareholders are discussing, the management team don't come to interject in that discussion. So what we are doing is far above the head of government in its three arms: president, National Assembly, presidency, since they are now different from president, judicial, all of them that are in the compartment of government. In its three arms, the discussion that is going on between the owners of the enterprise, those that will be countries of their own, in this alliance, you could see that Yoruba could be a country of 50, 60 million people. And so when the Yoruba are discussing with the Lower Niger and the Middle Belt, it is and you remember that we started with Pronaco, in which everybody was invited, including the Fulani. Buhari was part of the Fulani delegation that came. Sayed Abubakar was part of the Fulani delegation that came. So we went from that countrywide discussion to when this Sharia business became too intense, and we said, well, this Sharia cannot cohabit with the democracy we thought we were building. This Sharia cannot cohabit with constitutionalism. These people who embrace Sharia owe it a duty of faith to kill the rest of us as infidels. And so we'll be deceiving ourselves if we think we're still in one union. These people who embrace Sharia have seceded from our secular union, from our democratic union. And it is within their right to self-determination to so do. And therefore, the rest of us moved on to what we could do to extricate ourselves from because in seceding, they now turn around to plan a conquest, which is what they invited the Fulani from all over Africa to come to join them in doing. These things we are telling us now are the things we have clearly explained to the big international stakeholders. The government of the US took 7 months to listen to these things I'm telling you now, including all these details you are seeing now. With the UN took time to listen at the time we went to inform them, which is why they've all spoken up. We remember that in April of 2021, the EU, the US, the EU, the UK, all took a common position on the subject of our proposition, on the content of our proclamation. by telling the government of Nigeria to please put guns out of the way. Don't bring gun into this discussion. Go and have a dialogue with the owners of the land, with the people. Let that dialogue produce the fresh legal instrument, that is new constitutional arrangement. That is the whole content of our proclamation. We say we can't proceed with this constitution any further, and our strategy for making sure we don't go beyond this round, the last cycle of election was in 2019, and we had declared in 2018 that we will not tolerate further national elections. That was the main proclamation of the Freedom Park, that Freedom Park proclamation. That was the main, thrust of it. That all of us, having done all of what we did to get ready for ending that constitution and the union of death, is forced on all of us. It is the enforcement of the freedom, the constitutional force majeure is the enforcement of the Freedom Park proclamation. Constitutional force majeure of 16 December 2020 is the enforcement of the decisions of the Freedom Park proclamation of December 11, 2018. Anybody who wants to get the details so that you don't get lost in the debate should please, anybody who can read and write, anybody who goes on social media amongst our people from this territory, whether they are home or they are abroad, should please find these two documents and read them. And there's even a third document we call Open Memorandum to President Muhammad Buhari, dated November 16, 2018, in which we spelled out step by step what will have to happen when this logjam is created. What will have to happen to solve this problem, even as it is now. The answer to the killings happening to all of us, because everybody will say, oh, they're killing us. That constitution that prevented you from carrying arms has been defeated. If anybody is still able to come to shoot at you, and your governor is telling you that the constitution does not permit him to carry, that person should go and ask Autumn under which constitution his people can carry arms now. It's either those governors come to join the people, it's either those governors come to join on the side of their people to defend them from invaders that are murdering them in large numbers, or they remain with the enemy, swearing to defend and uphold a constitution their people have repudiated, that is defeated. And when the governors will not come, because we gave the federal government 90 days, they didn't come, they were going to National Assembly, of course, we've defeated them. You remember that Yadudu was raising an alarm in the middle of last year, in the middle of 2020, to say that the people who were planning this kind of onslaught, he got wind of the force majeure that was coming. He said the people who were planning this kind of onslaught were actually going to unhinge the legal basis of the Nigerian Federation. Check Guardian newspaper, July 2020. Professor Yadudu, the quota professor, the illiterate professor Awalo Yadudu, was raising an alarm that if the attack that was intended against the constitution happens, that it will unhinge the legal basis of the Nigerian Federation. That's exactly what was done on the 16th of December in 2020. Let everybody hear it. That constitution is dead and buried. There's nothing that will give life back to it. National Assembly times 1,000 cannot do it. The executive branch cannot do it. Sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through that constitution, only when the people make a constitution can there be a document called the constitution. The powers of the National Assembly is limited to lawmaking. The lawyers in the land, many of them, including senior advocates, I'm surprised, do not seem to know that there's a world of difference between law making and constitution making. While the National Assembly can make law, constitution making is the exclusive business of the constituents, because it requires constituent powers. And those constituent powers attached to the constituents on account of is an incident of their sovereignty. Only them can submit their land and their people, as we saw in that preamble, to form a union. So you cannot come as a member of the hired management team they call government to now become the owner of our sovereignty, to become the owner of the business. to begin to alter the contents of our memo and article, which is what the Constitution is to the country. What the memo and article is to the company is what the Constitution is to the country. And in the same way, the shareholders of the company are the exclusive owners of the right to alter or write their memo and articles. Nobody else. It's not the hired management that comes to write your memo and article. You can at least relate to that. So that's really where we are. We have launched that action. The federal government was given 90 days. They didn't come. The state governors were given 30 days. Again, instead of coming, they came halfway. They went to Asaba to say, oh, we will ban open grazing. Wonderful. That's the first step. But with which gun are you going to enforce that ban? Because the people who are moving around with cows carry AK-47. So the governors must brace up and make up their mind to be on the side of their people or on the side of the enemy. If they want to be on the side of their people, they must now step into that vacuum that has been created by that constitution that we have defeated. Everything on that exclusive list is now within the reach of those governors to do. If they're not doing it, we have again entered the round of consultation with the populace and the diplomatic community, the international community. By the time that 120 days comes to an end, we will have arrived at the point where the people who are in this danger, the people who are being killed, the people whose future have been ruined by this constitution are going to ignore both the federal and the state government and take up their sovereignty in whichever formations, in whatever manner, so that they can begin to repair their lives. At that time, it will not be said that the federal government was not invited. At that time, it will not be said that the state governors were not invited into the question of how to proceed. They have all the time in the world now to come to where that discussion is taking place. If they remain in their cocoons, in their government houses, the owners of the sovereignty have been organized. They will be mobilized to take back their. You saw the Yoruba on the street, at home and abroad. You saw them in Ibadan, you saw them in Akure, you saw them in Oshogbo, you saw them on the streets of Washington and New York, you saw them in London, saying that they are fed up with the union. They're not the only ones saying so. Don't mind the madness going on in the East because of the stupid pranks, people who say they want Biafra that will fall from the sky. Things are happening in the East there, outside the drama of Give Us Biafra. Something far deeper is happening there. The same thing with the Middle Belt. So that's where we are. We have that force majeure is the enforcement of the sovereignty, the sovereign will of the people. The people in government house, especially the ones from this alliance territory, the senators, the governors, the house members, the ministers, all of those who pretend to be governing with our mandate, let them hear it loud and clear that the constitution they swear to defend and uphold, to govern by, have been rejected by us. Every day they stay there validating that constitution in Abuja or elsewhere, wherever they may be. They're actually challenging, they are being traitors against their people. They're actually putting themselves on a head-on collision with the people who are rejecting that constitution. Let it be clear to them that they have a choice to come and join their people to begin to salvage themselves from this toxic situation. Or they can remain where they are and generally, wait for what the people will do with them when the time comes. But they have ample time. The 120 days we took was from the end of the 90 days ended 16th of March. On the 17th of March, that's 2021. On the 17th of March 2021, we came out in Ibadan to give 30 days to the governors and the elected officials from the alliance territory to come along. They didn't come. Instead, some of them were running their mouth, saying, "Oh, who are the people saying this? We are the ones elected." One of the governors in the Southwest actually said so. "Oh, who is Akintoye? We are the ones elected." As if those who went to vote have submitted their sovereignty. They didn't elect you to come and be the custodian of their sovereignty. They elected you to manage the state within the prescriptions of what the constitution they are supposed to have made. And they're saying they didn't make any constitution. So you are in that difficult middle, and you have a chance to come to resolve the issue with them or stay with the enemy that imposed that constitution to your own detriment. That's where we are. We've gone past that. On the 17th of April, when the 30 days given to the governors had passed, the consultations moved to the populace, the balance of the populace. It is within the context of that consultation and the mobilization that has gone underway that you saw all of those who began to come out to the streets, the Igbohos in Ibadan. We saw all of the other people who have come out in one place or the other. There are other things they are doing that are not matters of street marches. We saw the international community speak up in that period of consultation, that 120 days, because it was in April, it was April 28, 29, 30, that the US, the EU, and the UK, took a common position around that subject of our proposition, that Nigeria should go and sort out itself. The UN, of course, is not ignorant of what's going on because of the communications were maintained with them. And we opened up that communication for the larger populace from this alliance territory to join in saying, yes, that's where we stand. That's what the petition is all about. Don't let anybody tell you that we have to get a certain number and then Uhuru, they will declare Biafra or they will declare Oduduwa Republic. That is a lie. Nothing to do with it is what we do to cause this halt on the continued operation of that 1999 constitution that will create the logjam, the constitutional logjam that will, of necessity, get into transition for the referendums by which we resolve which way we want to go with our sovereignties. The collapse of that constitution already puts our sovereignty back on the table. The way and manner we recover those sovereignties, are now matters of detail. But there's a clear design, like we have seen in those graphics. There are more, but we'll be bringing them out as we approach the point at which the public needs to know. Those who have been asking, how do we take down this constitution? It is to compel the political parties to close shop. All of them want to drag you to the renewal of the life of the constitution we have defeated. The caliphate is prepared to, they are pushing everybody towards election so that that constitution can be saved. They have thrown power to the south. Tinubu will be candidate. Another Mogalo or anybody in the east will be candidate. Igbo and Yoruba will begin to fight over who is going to be president. The Fulani want to save that constitution. It is only if we are stupid enough to go with them towards election that that constitution may have some semblance of life that will come back to it. As at now, we have pulled our signature. We are only keeping that constitution on a life support. That life support is the limited toleration we're extending to the constitution for the sake of peace, so that we can get to that transitioning everybody, in peace, so that we manage what it will take to go from where we are now in this union of death to fresh protocols. But if we saw Malami the other day talking nonsense about, though he came to deny it, but we just have to respond to it because it came public, that we was suggesting the suspension of a constitution that had been repudiated. Can we imagine the level of madness we have descended into? That the Attorney General of the Federation of Nigeria, confronted by the reality that the owners of Nigeria have rejected the constitution by which they are ruining their lives, is now suggesting to his principal that they could well suspend the constitution and assume martial powers. I'm sorry for them, because they're going to realize the very same hour they attempt to do that there's no union of Nigeria anymore. Beyond the toleration, beyond the goodwill still being shown in the face of extreme assault, not even provocation. People are killing people all over the place in the name of a constitution they didn't make. And those people who are being killed are still offering you a process that can give you safe landing. by way of transition. And you are still there hanging around, blowing siren, selling 3 million barrels of crude oil every day, and thinking that people are going to be intimidated because you have a few guns here and there. Like the global powers had admonished openly, Nigeria should know that this matter is not the type you solve with gun. Any gun that anybody pulls out in this debate is going to boomerang very massively. If anybody wants to try, we can only wish them good luck. 120 days counting from the 17th of April. That's the balance of the consultation that is going on. Beyond that point, we will then go back to what we wrote in the proclamation as what we will do if they do not come forward. We said we were going to reconsider our allegiance to that constitution. Anybody who has not read that proclamation, anybody who has education from southern Nigeria, from Middle Belt, who has not read that proclamation is likely to be a victim of what will happen in the coming days in Nigeria. Yeah. Anybody who has not read that proclamation should please go and look for how to get it. It's not hidden. Go to the website www.ninasffn.org. Again, I say www.ninasffn.org. In that website, you're going to see that proclamation. You're going to see the December 11th, Freedom Park proclamation. You're also going to see the open memo that spell out in details what should be the beginning and the end of the reconstruction we're talking about. So we're not just pointing to the sky to say, go and reconstruct. No, we're saying this is how you begin step by step to where it will end in referendums that will now be basis of further discussions among those who have decided to either recommit to the union or to opt out of the union. If anybody is thinking they're going to evade, you call national conference or you call National Assembly, all those things will not work. Let both the government and the people and all stakeholders go and read what is in that proclamation. That is what will happen, whether they come along or they don't come along. The only difference will then be it could get rowdy down the road.
Tony, I want to really appreciate you. That is the site. I'm showing you guys.
Volume, please.
Thank you very much, guys. That is the site I'm trying to show you guys. Can you hear me now? I should give it a little bit more. 1 second. I will pump it up a little bit more. I want to thank Tony for giving us this opportunity to know exactly what's going on, to see exactly what's going on, and to be able to solve the problem to a certain level. We want to thank you, Mr. Tony Nandi, for everything you're doing. If you have not been to the website, please, it is very, very informative. You get a lot of information from there, and you will not be lost. You will not be lost. They said the purpose, what we do, all the maps are there, like you're seeing it now. The goals, the commissioning, jettison the illegitimate 1999 commission, and 1999 constitution, which is the mechanism used by minority to create a situation worse than apartheid South Africa through a constitutional force majeure process, Nigeria force majeure. If you go to this website, you're going to see so much information. It's well detailed, well analyzed, and well positioned so that you can see exactly what you need to know from there. Some people have come up and said this petition is not the right one, is the wrong one, is this, is that. They are all lying to you. If anybody said to you, oh, this is not the right one, or this is not this, or this is not that, don't believe them. I have an analogy for every scenario. I have a scenario that I can give to you. If you want me to give you that scenario now, I will give it to you. You have a locked door. You have a locked door. You have a bucket full of so many keys, and someone is telling you all these keys are rusted, and you believe them. for one reason or the other. You believe them, even though when they said to you, the key are rusted. Why will you believe such a lie? You have to try the key to make sure that the key can actually open the door. I want to thank Mr. Tony. I don't know whether we should take question. Okay, I will try and make it big so that you can actually see it instead of me typing it. I wish I could type it, but that would just waste our time. So I'll make it big so that you can see it properly. Or maybe I should just type it. Let me type it in the comment section. Tony is back. Okay, so I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me, Tony?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, went off for a moment.
I know, but that's not a problem at all. Is www.NINAS freedom
NINASFFN.org. No, NINAS FFN.
Yeah.
FFN.
Yeah. Because I want them to remember how that thing was composed.
Okay, freedom from Nigeria.
Yeah. Because when you have the formula, it's very hard for you to get the equation. That is why I decided to give you guys this equation. Tony, I was giving them a scenario that you have a locked door and you want to break the door. And one of the things you have is, I hope I have had and read Buhari's latest speech and restructuring.
Increase your volume a little more, please.
Okay. Let me try and do that for you, sir. I want to type it in the comment section so that people can have what it takes.
No, I can't hear you anymore.
1 second, sir. 1 second.
I can't hear you anymore.
Okay, what about now, sir?
Okay, better.
I'm sorry for that, yeah? It was giving them an easy noise on the other side. That's why I turned it down a bit. Okay,
right.
So let me type these things into the comment section on the other side. www.ninasffn.org. That is the website for it, and I want to try and pin it on both platforms so that you can actually go back there and pick it up at your own leisure time. Okay, it's there now. I've actually done the pinning. People are saying, this is not right, this is not good, this is not on, this is not that. They're saying all sort of things. And you know my take on this one. You have a key, you have a locked door, and this locked door, there's a bucket full of so many keys. What do you do to get out? What do you do to get out? The only thing you can do to get out is to try all this key. And this key, the NINAS key, seems to be
no, you are mixing. No. You see, none of them has any key they have put on the table to say there's key. What key? Noise making or internet activism, okay, or commotion on the street with no strategic plan. Let's not reduce it to let's try this and try that. If we have education, we have scientific approach to things. Somebody says we're going to do XYZ. There must be a plan on the table we can interrogate. Which other person has placed it? Which other group has placed any plan on the table for how any of these things can happen?
Nobody.
So why are we talking about tri-key, several keys, which bunch of key? I want to hear that there's this group that said, okay, let us do it this way. Autonomous. Don't say, let me take small from this plan and small from that other plan. Bring a plan. We have a comprehensive plan on the table. None of these other people, none of this other group has any plan that can ever become anything. I challenge them. Let them bring that plan that can extricate any part of this, whether it is the Biafra noise or the Odua nation, that you must have a plan where in a prison compound you want to go to freedom. If you don't have a plan that takes down the prison wall, that will break your cell and bring you to where you are actually stepping out of that prison, you just sit in your cell and make your noise. So the NINAS is a joint jailbreak design by all of those who are trapped, the Ogoni, the Ijo, the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Tiv, the Berom, all of us who are trapped in this caliphate prison. We have a plan that took 21 years to execute to where it culminated in the force majeure. Which of those groups had gone to sit down, gone to Capitol Hill to address senators, gone into State Department to talk to the operatives, gone to the UN to talk to people who are going to manage the crisis, who have then, the US has raised their policy positions on Nigeria. You saw where they categorized Nigeria as a country of particular concern and state sponsor of terror, along with Iran. You saw it in December of 2020. How did it happen?
It's true.
Which of these people have gone to bring this constitution as a mechanism by which this enemy is prevailing and drawn up a plan for how to take it down? Which of those groups has gone to inform the other people to work out how the other people will get involved? Which of them?
Okay, what we need to sell to our people is
let them go and read. Let them go and look. Let them go and examine the plan and interrogate the plan. If they have a better plan, let them bring it. If they don't have, they can get out of the way for something that will deliver them to happen. Not to come and pretend they have a plan where they don't have any, and people are being killed.
On a daily basis.
The diplomacy must be put aside in this matter, and it's going to progress. It's going to move progressively to where the enemy from afar we know. But those ones who are causing obstruction in the place where we should be acting very swiftly to get out of this compound, the prison compound. At this time, the gate is open. That constitution has been defeated. Every day we stay here arguing blindly. Is a day being allowed the enemy to regroup?
Yes. Okay. I really want to thank you for your time today, Tony. I think one of the things we need to do is to probably repeat this program about 2-3 more times at different time. Even if you watched it, cut it down to bit. I will not make it too long. Maybe we're going to be rounding it up. The reason being, I don't want to make it too long, so that we can all share it on our WhatsApp, make it go viral, let more people see it. And tell your friends. If anybody said the petition is fraud, is wrong, is whatever they want to call it, I challenged a gentleman today to say, with all your education, you didn't go to the website attached to it. You need to go there, have a look at it, and find out whether it's right or wrong. Because I've seen so many voice notes. Maybe I should play my voice note for you, the voice note I have earlier on. When I was angry about all this. 1 second. I will try and find out voice note that I sent out earlier on today about this. Because some people came up and said, this is wrong, this is this, and that is that. And I said, no, there's nothing like that. We're supposed to be educated. But they've not examined what we placed on the table. They are acting in conjecture, talking trash. I've been sent tons of inquiries on the matter. Why can't you look? The thing is written on the face of the document the link they're talking about. Petition for referendum. Nobody said it is referendum, and I've explained to you that petition was open the very day we began. The force majeure was declared, and it will remain open just to keep the discussion going on in all the places. So that whatever we're doing here, the people we're talking to, the people who are supposed to be getting ready to mediate in the commotion, because as for whether the matter will get to commotion, it will get to commotion. Since those we are talking to are still preparing for elections. And we're telling the political parties that we're going to, all our anger, all our fury will be directed at the political parties, whoever is found on the side of political party preparing for 2023. We're not talking about boycott in 2023. We're talking about 2021, in which people are still, organizing themselves in PDP and APC and Young People's Party, the higher bellows of this world, the Mogalus of this world, and all of those who are going about pretending they are going to organize election, to go to election under that constitution.
the people who are being killed in the Middle Belt, the young people who are being molested in Eastern Nigeria, shot with at sight. Eventually, all of those who did NSAS, they are going to, all that anger will be gathered and directed at the political parties that are holding on to that constitution at the time the people who are dying are rejecting it. That will be the starting of the, because if that fight is not undertaken, it will mature into AK-47 that will turn up from inside our forests, in our communities. It's better we tackle our cousins and our nephews that are going to contest election now, to say, you have been contesting elections since 1999. It hasn't added any value to us. It has degraded our lives. It has enabled the Fulani to jump on us and kill us off. You can't do it anymore. Because what you are pursuing is for your own intestine, not on our behalf. You go in our name, but you are not there on our behalf.
Wow.
Let us go and agree on the union document. Because the one we have now was imposed by that enemy. It has reduced us to slaves in our land. And you want to go and join them. Anybody who wins will have to swear to defend and uphold our constitution. That's where political party will end. Why do we allow them? So it's going to become a big fight with the political parties inside the third quarter of this 2021. Political parties must close shop. If they are not closing shop, they are telling us that they want to compel us to go to another election under that constitution. I tell you, they are going to be treated as the enemy. They are going to be treated as anything we can do to a herdsman. If you were to find them in the community, that is what should happen to political parties that are holding the ladder for this Fulani to be climbing all over all of us. It's as terrible as that. There's no punishment that will be too harsh for anybody who is willing to go to extend the life of that constitution one more day. And that is what all the political parties that are angling for election under that constitution are planning to do. They are going to meet the wrath of our people before we begin to think of what to do with Fulani, whether they come from Sokoto or they come from Senegal.
Okay.
Political parties must now close shop.
Thank you for
we can't be pretending we have a constitution when we didn't. The document we have is one that is tormenting us, by which we are being killed. Tie our hands to the back. The guns are in the hands of the enemy exclusively. And you are going to say you want to go and contest which election under it at a time we are all struggling to defeat the document. Are you not a traitor that should be done away with?
True.
That's how bad it is. True. Political parties must close shop immediately. Anybody that is still planning to go to contest election or float party, there's no party until we have resolved this question of the constitution by which we relate in this union. This imposition must be brought to an end. And the people sustaining it are not the ones who imposed it. The people sustaining it are our own people who go to subscribe to it and swear by it. So it has come to where we're telling them you can't go anymore in our name.
Okay, let's listen to this voice note a little bit.
It saddened my heart so badly, the way we reason sometimes. How can we ignore this petition for referendum? How can we ignore it? Is Prophet Banjaki not part of NINAS? They give a website there that you can check the details to see whether it's true or not. You haven't checked it. Nobody cared to check it. And we're all saying it's a fake. Who turned our head upside down? Who make us this way? And we're blaming the politicians. Even with the level of our own educations, we're still messing about and toying with people's life. Please, the petition for referendum is true. Sign it, forward it, share it, encourage people to do it. Stop discouraging people, guys. Look at how many voice notes that people have done on this petition. Sad.
Okay, this is what I want all my listeners to do. Please encourage other people to sign it. Sign it yourself. Share it about 2 times a day in groups. Don't just share it one time. Share it at least 2 times a day in all the groups. let's push this one to the top of the agenda. Let's make it work. Let's try all our effort to make sure this works. And I would love Tony to come back again and educate more people, and more people go. If you have a platform and you want Tony to come to your platform, if you don't have his contact details, please contact me. I will pass his information to you, because the more platform Tony goes to educate us on this one, the better it is going to be for us. And this program right here now on Heritage doesn't belong to Heritage. It belongs to all of us. So you can rebroadcast it on your own page. You can rebroadcast it on your own channel, YouTube channel. You can do whatever you like with it, and you are not breaking any copyright rule by doing that. On this note, I want to give Tony the opportunity to say his last word on the program tonight before we close the shop. Mr. T.
Yes, thank you. Just to inform our listeners and viewers that there is a radio TV platform dedicated to NINAS, an LNC radio TV platform called Volley Media, that is Voice of Liberty International. They did the test run last week. The first program on it happened yesterday, just yesterday. The particulars will be made available to you so that you can also, that's the radio TV platform. People will be getting information on what NINAS is doing going forward. Of course, all the partner, stations like yours that have been on the matter all the while will, of course, will have priority in taking content from that one place to be up to date at every point in time, and you'll be entitled to connect like our offline, get the editorial team to work out, all of the cooperations, so that stations like yours that are dedicated, plenty of time in getting our people ready for this period will have priority in being able to connect live programs from that platform. And so we're getting to where we will, have our people should not be looking for information here and there. Yes, the website is there, but this kind of interactive broadcast, this kind of broadcast will be happening. At this time, we're doing 3 times in 1 week. Eventually, and in a short while, it will be daily broadcast. But platforms like Heritage TV will be able to take content from there, even live, and so that more of our people can, get to follow the discussion.
Great, Tony. I want to appreciate you for your strategy. Your presentation today has helped so many people out in this session. Thank you very much, sir. Until next time, when I come your way again, Tony. Thank you. God bless you. That's Tony Enandi, the man that's been preaching how to do things legally, how to do things the right way, how to do things. Lawyers tends to know how to do things in a way that they won't get blamed later on. Say, why don't you do it that way, or why did you do it that way, or why did you do it this way? He's doing it diligently in a way that will save lives, if not all the lives, at least most of the lives. I want to thank him again, and I want to thank you all for being part of this program tonight. Please, 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 I'm begging you, try and encourage others to sign this petition. Try and encourage others to sign it. The more people that sign it, the better it is for us. The more popular it becomes, the more people's eyes will be open. Encourage people to visit this website. It's probably one of the websites I'm going to try and pin to the bottom of my program so that more and more people can see it. I want to thank you all for being part of this program tonight. Before you go, please do whatever you can do to make others aware of this agitation. Until tomorrow, when I come your way again, or maybe later on today, as some people will view it, it's actually it's 1:30 here in the UK, and I'm sure it's 1:30 in Nigeria where Tony is. You see, the man is very dedicated to what he's doing to our. I want to thank him again I want to thank him again. I want to thank him over and over again for his hospitality and accolade us for this special chance that we have tonight. Guys, good night and God bless. Don't have nightmare. Bye bye.
ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jùmọ̀ kọ orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àwa ni ògo adúláwọ̀.